Of professionals to fight your claim. If you want to know what your case is.
Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
He needs care and treatment.
You are now listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Daryl May Remax Partners on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Is this a great country or what?
Locking down the middle of the day, live from the Raising Cane studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Welcome in. Hunt Palmer coming to you from the Raising Cane studio downtown in the capital city on this Tuesday. Brought to you by Daryl May Remax Partners. Got Jordan Kitchens, Cassie Spazzali back there on the ones and twos, and plenty to do on our final show of 2025. Should the Saints pay Chris Olave? How much should they pay Chris Olave if they pay him? We'll talk about it in 15 minutes. Glen West along in 30 minutes talking Tigers as they got a big win on the hardwood last night. Not necessarily in terms of the scale of the game, but in the margin of victory. Tigers got a big win there. We'll talk about it in the second hour as well. The NFL rookie team, according to ESPN, with 1 week to go. Saints got a pretty hefty presence on that. We'll talk about it at the end of the hour. And Sharief, Ishaq along at 2:30. Plus, got to get ready for the college football playoff because they're going to play all four of these playoff games before we meet again on Friday. So for the last time this year, let's crank things up with our opening drive.
Welcome to the big league.
It's time for Hunt's Opening Drive, presented by Fabry Chevrolet GMC in St. Francisville.
So the transfer portal opens coming up on Friday, right? January 2nd, transfer portal opens. And you're thinking, well, it opens. There's been guys going in the transfer portal for 2 weeks. Well, they're announcing their intention to go in the transfer portal. Guys can start taking visits, committing places, actually making moves starting on January the 2nd. And as you all are very well aware, LSU is going to be extremely active in that portion of the college football calendar. What I wanted to get a feel for is just how active. So I went through the entire roster with scholarship players. I took the players off who were out of eligibility, and the players who have declared their intention to enter the transfer portal, I took off this list as well. Now, I'm well aware, and I think you are too, there are potentially players who have announced their decision to go in the transfer portal who will come back to LSU. There are also players on the current LSU roster that have not declared to go in the transfer portal that probably will coming up here in the next couple of weeks. So this is not a final list. It's a working list of where LSU's roster sits. I was just curious on numbers, and I'll tell you all this. I've got a good feel for who's on the roster in August and when LSU's playing in games. Could I swear to you I knew what class they were all in or how many years of eligibility they had left? No. That part I used to know like the back of my hand when they would just come in, either redshirt or not, and then play, and I could feel like now you got guys who they're on their third school, or maybe they're in a JUCO, or finally you got the COVID year guys that are rolling off, and like it's been complicated. So I wanted to just like go back and look at this and say, okay, what does LSU have right now? I'm confident this is what Billy Glasscock and Lane Kiffin have been doing for 3 weeks, but I have it, so I did it. Now, this is going to be relatively difficult to follow. I'll try to make it as simple as possible, and I think you'll have a good idea of where LSU is headed here as well. And again, this is a working list. It's not a final list. But you know where you are at quarterback. Nussmeier's gone. Hurley's going to the portal. You got Michael Van Buren. You got one. You got to go work at quarterback. Is it Trinidad Chambliss? I don't know. Is it Sam Levitt? I don't know. DJ Lagway? I don't know. Deuce Knight from Auburn just declared he's going in the portal. Former five-star recruit. Showed some flashes late in the season. Like, okay, there's a lot of options. There will be a lot of options. LSU's got to get busy. At quarterback, you've got one. At running back, technically you've got three. You got Caden Durham and Harlem Berry, who finished the season with you. Both guys have eligibility left. Berry was a freshman. Durham was a sophomore. And then JT Lindsey's still on the roster. He's been out dealing with legal matter, results of early in fall camp. I don't know what his future holds. You got to get running backs too, and it's going to be expensive. Harlem Berry's going to be expensive. Caden Durham's probably expensive, and Keywan Lacey would be expensive. LSU can't talk about him. I'm a talk show host. I can talk about him. He'd be expensive. But you got three guys, and one of them's not with the team. You got to go get running backs too. You don't have a high school assigned at either one of those positions. So quarterback and running back, got to have them. Tight end, Trey Green. We think he's back. J.D. LaFleur just redshirted. he's likely back. Donovan Green has another year of eligibility. So you got 3 tight ends, plus you signed one in the class. So that would be 4. You've got a star in Trey'Dez Green. You've got a guy who looks physically ready to play in J.D. LaFleur. Donovan Green certainly can help you in goal line situations. He's a big body. Plus, you've got a freshman coming in. Like, you're okay at tight end. Wide receiver. You got 5 guys that I'm counting that look like they're coming back next year. Because Aaron Anderson's already declared for a All-Star game. And Chris Hilton's out of eligibility. And Barryon Brown's out of eligibility. And Xavion Thomas is out of eligibility. So you got 5 guys I count. Kyle Parker, Nick Anderson, Destin Hill, and then you got Phillip Wright and Teron Francis out of the freshman class. That's 5 guys. It would surprise me if all 5 of those guys were back next year, quite frankly. That would surprise me a little bit. But right now, Kyle Parker, Nick Anderson, Destin Hill, Phillip Wright, Teron Francis. You've got 3 signed in this class that Lane Kiffin and his offensive staff have kind of handpicked. You got 2 guys that were very much leaning to Ole Miss and Oklahoma, that ended up at LSU, and then you, of course, bring in one of the top players in the state from down in New Orleans. So you got 8 guys at wide receiver, but I feel like that's a place that LSU will be shopping. 8's a big number. I don't think all 8 will end up at LSU. I think you're going to have maybe 1 or 2 transfers from the returning class. And then you got a couple freshmen that you really want to lean on those. I think that LSU will go after tight end, but right now it looks like 8. Offensive line is a spot that we talked about a little bit yesterday, but at offensive line, I count 8 guys right now, and that doesn't include Braylon Moore. You'll hear that, but 8 guys right now who are on the roster, on scholarship, that could come back. Tyler Miller, Solomon Thomas, Ethan Callaway, Weston Davis, Kyrie Lee, Braylon Moore, Bo Bordelon, Brett Bordelon. 8 guys. You signed 2 in this class. That's 10. That is nowhere near enough, and a lot of these guys have not played a lick. Like Tyler Miller hadn't played a lick, Solomon Thomas hadn't played a lick, Ethan Callaway hadn't played a lick, Kyrie Lee hadn't played a lick, and then Brett Bordelon hadn't played a lick. 5 of the 8 that are returning have not played. Now, Braylon Moore would be huge to get back, obviously. Bo Bordelon is a depth piece that will be back. And then Weston Davis is a really talented guy who had a tough first year starting in the SEC. You've got 2 guys signed. 10 is not even close. I said the number I used yesterday was 6. I think you got to get 6. Now, whether some of the guys that are in the portal, like Carius Kern or like Tyree Adams, like if you can get those guys back, great. But there's going to be turnover there, and you got to go get a lot of guys. You got to get 3, absolutely have to get 3 starters that I didn't name there. Absolutely have to get 3 starters. I think you got 6 total. So you're not even close on the offensive line. Now, defensive line, wildly enough, is the spot where your defensive coach left. Kyle Williams is gone. And you still have huge numbers on the defensive line. Don McKinley, Walter Mathis, then you got the freshmen, Brandon Brown, Zion Williams, Sean Washington can come back. Then on the edge, you got C.J. Jackson, Damian Shanklin, Gabe Relaford, Kalaj Cobbins, Dylan Carpenter. That's 10 guys. And you signed 4, the best defensive line coach class in the country. You got Richard Anderson. You got Lamar Brown. You got Deuce Gerald. You got Trenton Henderson. So to go with 10 guys on that list coming back, you signed 4. That's 14 guys on the defensive line. Now, how good do you feel about some of these names? Freshman and Brandon Brown, Zion Williamson, Sean Washington, who would be a senior, who hasn't really played. Rest of those guys have been depth pieces. Like, maybe you got to go shopping on the defensive line, but as far as numbers go, that's 14 guys. That's a decent amount on the defensive line. Linebacker, you were very young there as far as your depth goes. Some of that's growing up. Now, Devon Keys, Tylen Singleton, those are the 2 lead dogs from the bowl game. But I'm not ruling Whit Weeks out at this point at all. He's right there. His younger brother, Zach, played as a freshman a little bit this year. And in Zach's class, you got Charles Ross, who I know this staff is very high on. You got Jaden Breaker. You got Keelan Moses. You've got depth, and you got some talent there at linebacker. That's 7 guys. Now, you didn't sign one in this class. You got 7 guys at linebacker. And I think, you add one starter and have him come in and compete. Maybe Whit Weeks moves on and you bump that number down to 6, and you definitely got to go get somebody. But they've got some good numbers at linebacker. Corner, they got to go shopping. You got DJ Pickett and PJ Woodland that are back. Then you got Jakeem Jackson and Aiden Anding who could come back. But that's it. You signed 2, and you feel very good about Haven Finney. So that's 6, 7. you got to go get more. You got to go get a corner or two, and you've got the best cornerback recruiter in the country out there with Mansour Lane now attached to him. Hey, this guy was third team All-ACC at Virginia Tech. He's going to be like the 13th pick in the draft. Come on down. And I think LSU can get one, but you need somebody opposite Pickett and Woodland to let Anding grow up, let Jackson be a depth piece, and you don't want to count on Haven Finney too quickly as a freshman. So corner, you got to go get somebody. And then safety, you got good numbers at safety. Jake Olson stocked those shells well. You got Tamarcus Cooley, you got Deshaun Spears, still got Joel Rogers, Jacob Bradford, Jace Thomas, who I know the staff's very high on, CJ Jim Coley, who played a good bit in the bowl game as well, who's got great size as a freshman this past year. That's 6 guys, and you signed 2 more. You signed Aiden Hall, obviously, big get there. You got 8 safeties between the returners and your high school. I don't think you need to go shopping too hard there as well. So that's a lot to go through, but ultimately, and I realize I'm leaving out kickers and punters, long snappers if they're on scholarship. There are some specialists, but ultimately, you had 47 returners and 14 signees that are the ink is dry. That's 61. 61 is where you're at right now. You got to go get 25 more. You got to go get 28 more. That's the numbers you're looking at here for LSU. 25, 28 more players that you're going to have to go get, because not everybody that I listed on this sheet is going to be back. I told you I didn't think all the wide receivers would be back. It would surprise me if all the running backs were back. I included Durham, Berry, and Lindsey on that. It would surprise me if all these defensive linemen came back. It would surprise me if all the offensive linemen came back. It would surprise me if all the wide receivers came back. So, you're at 61 right now, and I expect more attrition. That could be down to 58, 57. You may have to go get 30 guys. That's what you're looking for in this portal class. And the positions that you absolutely, positively must address: quarterback, you've got 1. Running back, you've got a generous 3. Offensive line, you've got 10. That's way short. Corner, you've got 6. Not enough. Those have got to be addressed, and I think they got to get a wide receiver too. So it's a daunting task, but it's one that Lane Kiffin has had the entire month to prepare for. No bowl game, no playoff. He assembled the staff pretty quickly. You have your exit meetings. You determine which guys you want to keep around, which guys you think may need to move on. You present revenue sharing numbers to the guys on your roster. You're talking to agents. Lane Kiffin said that on the telecast on Saturday night. You got to be loaded and ready for bear on Friday. And it would stun me if LSU didn't have multiple commitments between Friday and Monday morning. Monday's show. Let's call it Monday's show for me. Monday at 1 o'clock. I think LSU will have guys ready to roll. That's what I think. Now, visits have to happen. Not everything has to go really, really fast. And there are some positions that are more important than others. LSU simply must address quarterback and offensive line with authority. But you got a long way to go from a numbers perspective, because right now, 47 plus 14 is generous. That's 61. I bumped that down to 44, 43, and 14, and you're talking about 57, 58 players. That ain't going to get it. So LSU's got to be very, very aggressive in how they pursue this transfer portal, and you brought Lane Kiffin in to do just that. So it would surprise me if he did not. It's going to be an exciting time. It's going to be a wild time, and we'll have a tracker up at louisianasports.net starting on Friday that'll just start rolling in these commitments as they come. And I expect it to be very, very busy for 3 weeks down here in Baton Rouge as LSU tries to put together a roster for 2026. It's just very, very short on numbers at this point, as you would expect with a coaching change, is what it is. That's our opening drive, brought to you by Fabry Chevrolet and GMC. Chris Olave, what's the future hold? What's next?
The Hunt Palmer Show.
One Bath and Closets. OneBathAndClosets.com is the website. David Duvall and his team, 30 years redesigning and remodeling bathrooms and closets. 30 years. He tells me all the time about something that he's seeing a good bit of at this point, which is if your house was built around 1990, around 1995, maybe even as late as 2000, and it was built with one of those classic 90s, late 80s bathrooms with the big standing shower on one side and then the huge jacuzzi tub in the middle. You never get in the jacuzzi tub. The jacuzzi tub doesn't work anymore. You have no use for it. It just takes up a ton of space. Look how much space that takes up. Consider if it was a walk-in shower. You're going, well, I already have a shower. We can take that shower out, put it in a linen closet, use it more effectively, more efficiently, and do something to the aesthetic of your bathroom and the functionality of your bathroom. That's what David Duvall and his team at One Bath and Closets do all the time. If you're thinking, yeah, That sounds great, but I mean, do I have to cut a huge check right now? No, you can finance it. 0% up to 18 months. That's same as cash. You got time to pay that off and make a huge difference in your bathroom. So go with the team that's been doing it for 30 years. Go with the team that's licensed, that's bonded, that's insured. Go with One Bath and Closets. Check them out online and get that free consultation at onebathandclosets.com.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Sometimes you ignore the signs, even when they're right in front of you. Problem gambling isn't always easy to spot. Know the signs, set your limit. Learn more about healthy gambling habits by visiting us online or text or call for free, confidential help now.
This menu is a masterpiece, delivers every time.
This is the worst party ever. Raisin Cane's!
Let's go!
The party is saved!
Peter, Mr. Billingsley.
Celebrate the holidays with Raisin Cane's Chicken Fingers. One love.
South Louisiana, it's turnaround season, and River Parish Contractors is calling in the best of the best. We're hiring pipe fitters, iron workers, boiler makers, combo and structural welders, rig welders, carpenters, crane operators, dirt operators, and more. If you're ready to work, ready to earn, and ready to build something that lasts, call Big Jake at 318-547-1000 or go to rpcontractors.com. River Parish Contractors. Let's get building.
Looking for cleaner energy? Propane is energy for everyone. Propane water heaters are very cost efficient, and the savings are even greater with a tankless propane water heater. We all know that Louisiana propane is a safe and environmentally friendly fuel. So why not go green while you save some green? I'm Miss Louisiana, Gabrielle McLeod, and for more information, visit louisianapropane.com.
I'm Lawyer Locke Meredith. If you're battling an insurance company because of a wreck not your fault and they're not calling you back or being fair, whether you hire us at all, give us a call, 272-5555, or email Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates. You have nothing to lose.
Hello, I'm Collins Meredith. If you've been injured on the job, you'll likely have a workers' compensation claim, but you may also have a tort claim, which opens up significant recovery rights not normally.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Daryl May Remax Partners. Looking for land to hunt or build? Call Daryl May Remax Partners.
Tuesday show is brought to you by Daryl May Remax Partners, licensed realtor in Louisiana and Mississippi. If you're looking to buy or sell a home in Baton Rouge, there's nobody better to call than Daryl May. He's lived here his entire life. Born and raised in Baton Rouge, Catholic high grad, now calls St. Francisville home. So whether you're looking in the middle of the city, in the heart of the city, or outside the city limits, maybe somewhere life moves a little slower, Daryl May understands both. He can help you out with that. Plus, he spent better than 20 years as a builder. He knows the kind of construction that you should be looking for as a buyer as well. So buying, selling a home, Daryl May Remax Partners, happy to help you out. DarylMayProperties.com, DarylMayProperties.com. You know, there are a lot of happy people in New Orleans these days. Saints have won 4 in a row. Feel like you got your quarterback. You know, that makes Kellen Moore happy as a first-year head coach, no doubt. Got to make Tyler Shuck happy. He's now a starting quarterback in the NFL, playing great. I think Mickey Loomis probably feeling pretty good right about now. That whole crew, Kai Harley and the whole front office, just people out and about the streets need to be happy in the city of New Orleans. But among the happiest, I'm not going to give you official happiness power rankings, but among the happiest, I'm thinking Chris Olave. Why is that? Well, it's potential extension season for Chris Olave right now. And those talks, we understand, have been ongoing between New Orleans and their number one wide receiver. The Saints have picked up his fifth-year option as a first-round pick. And next year, Chris Olave is set to count about $15.5 million towards the cap. That's where it's headed for the final year of that rookie deal. So the question is, do you need to extend Chris Olave? And I believe the answer to that is yes. I believe the answer to that is yes, based on a number of different factors. And I have been critical at times of Chris Olave over the last couple of years. I think he's had some drops. I think there have been some contested catches I would like a guy to go up and make. But here's the deal. These conversations now are being shifted over the last month because the Saints are about to hit a period of a couple of years where they've got a quarterback on the cheap. This is very rare in the NFL, and it can impact how you spend money with your salary cap structure. So if you're going to have Tyler Ishaq on this rookie deal for a second-round pick, all of a sudden, I can get a little bit more loose with my spending. So for Chris Olave, who is a proven commodity in the NFL, his rookie season in 2022, just over 1,000 yards, 4 touchdowns. Had 72 catches. It was a targets number I was looking at. 72 catches. The next year he built on that. 87 catches. He had 5 touchdowns. And he went for 1,123 yards. Now, last year we know injuries, concussions, limited him to 8 games. Not going to hold a 400-yard season against him. But this year, comes back, going to play a full season this year. He's over 1,100 yards again, and he's almost doubled his touchdown output. He had 10 in his first 3 years. He's got 9 this year. And now he's got a quarterback who's getting him the football. And so Chris Olave, at his age 25 season, is going to have, he's already put 3,000-yard years in the bank. Already put him in. You know, if Chris Olave is healthy, 22-year-old rookie, 23-year-old second-year player, 25-year-old fourth-year player, if you get the full slate of games from Chris Olave, you get 1,000 yards, you get somewhere in the neighborhood of 6, 8, 9 touchdowns. That's something I can build with. Now, I want to extend Chris Olave. I want to pay Chris Olave. I want him to be on this team. I want him to continue building around Tyler Ishaq. I need that piece to the puzzle to continue to bring Ishaq along. But the question is, okay, how much? And you look at the top of the wide receiver market, and you look at Jamar Chase, who set the market at $40 million a year. Then you got Justin Jefferson, who was right before him, at $35 million a year. And then right below those guys, in a stair-step metric from 3 to 5, you've got CeeDee Lamb, DK Metcalf, and Garrett Wilson, all just north of $32.5 million, between $32.5 and $34 million. I don't consider Chris Olave in that class right now. But when you start getting down to Brandon Ayuk, Tyreek Hill now, T. Higgins, Jalen Waddle, DJ Moore, closer to $27 million, okay, I can really get on board with that. Now, I don't know how Chris Olave feels about 27.5 as opposed to 32. Not my $5 million to get or to pay. But I want to pay Chris Olave around the 15th, 16th receiver in the NFL. He's on my roster. He's being very productive. Do I think he's a dominant player like Jamar Chase is when he's at his best? Like Justin Jefferson or CeeDee Lamb are at their best? I don't get those senses from Chris Olave. I don't think he's about to rip off 1,800 yards and 14, 15, 17 touchdowns. I don't think that. But he's a good player who wants to be in New Orleans, who's got a relationship with this new quarterback, and he's producing when he's healthy, and he's been healthy 3 out of the 4 years. And now that I have this extra money, because I'm giving my quarterback the rookie deal for the second round, it's time to start spending on guys that are going to help now. Like, it's time to go. That's what this month has done for me. I'm not going crazy. We're not giving him CeeDee Lamb $34 million a year. I don't want to do that. But if you can get Chris Olave under contract for $27.5, $28 million, okay. I'm okay with that. Do I think that's exactly where he fits in the league? No. But you realize that there are going to be guys in the next 2 years who sign their extensions that are going to jump over the top of that. And then all of a sudden, he's the 23rd highest paid receiver in the league. And I'm perfectly fine with that. I didn't even think that paying Chris Olave significant money in this offseason means you can't draft a wide receiver with your first pick in the draft. I would be in favor of drafting another wide receiver who would be on a rookie deal, who would be a very manageable money deal. And then all of a sudden, if you just look at your wide receiver room, where you've got Vele coming back, you've got Olave where you're spending the big bucks, and then you've got a rookie, all of a sudden, if I take the room and look at the money I'm spending on it, it's not exorbitant. It's not like the Bengals that right now have Jamar Chase for $40 million a year, who's the number one receiver, and then right down the list, you've got T. Higgins, who is making a monstrous amount of money as well at $28.7 million, and the Bengals have more than that. They have $69 million invested at wide receiver. I'm looking at the Saints, and they would have somewhere in the neighborhood of 35. It's half. So I'm all about extending Chris Olave at this point. My tune has changed because Tyler Shuck has changed it. And there's just nothing that impacts a roster structure more so than a quarterback, which is the highest paid position in the league, making relative peanuts and playing really good football. And you look back at what Olave's done the last month in extensions time against Tennessee, talking about 8 catches, $119, touchdown. Against the Jets, 10 catches, $148, 2 touchdowns. Carolina, 6 catches, but 85 yards, touchdown. He's making plays because his quarterback got the ability to do it. And by the way, the defenses know he's got to make the play. You scared of Mason Tipton out there? You terrified of Pettis? No. You know they know that Olave's the guy. And still, he's getting things done. Now, the Titans, Jets, and Panthers aren't exactly the cream of the crop. Carolina might win the division, but still, this is the NFL, and it's not just a 3-game sample size. This is a 4-year sample size where Chris Olave, when given the full complement of games, all of a sudden becomes a 1,000-yard receiver. And again, I'm not suggesting he's a top 8 receiver in the NFL, but I'm looking at this at dollars and cents. And if I've got Vele on a rookie deal, and I can maybe draft one in the first or second round this year, and then I've got Tipton, who's inexpensive and a guy you can take a flyer on, and then you've got Olave, who's stirring the drink, who's your consistent guy, okay, that makes a ton of sense to me. There are other needs. I'd like to see an edge rusher. I don't hate the idea of offensive line. I don't love it. I don't hate it. I don't hate the idea of grabbing a running back. But paying Olave, if that's the nuts and bolts of this discussion right now, I'm in. Give the guys extension. Let's keep him here for multiple years. Let's let Tyler Shuck grow up with him. I think it's an awesome idea. He's not old. He is productive. It's not a huge injury history. He hadn't been a malcontent at all. I think you give him his money. I think it's that time. Those are my thoughts on Chris Olave. Jordan, you got thoughts on Chris Olave?
I think you definitely need to pay him at this point in time where you're looking at, like you said, Shuck is going to be – I mean, I ain't going to say he's making pennies, but he ain't making top dollar like these other NFL quarterbacks. God, no. Yeah, he's not going to be making top dollars, not pennies, but you're going to be in a spot where, like the Texans, where C.J. Stroud came along and then they started getting Stephon Diggs and, paid Nico Collins and brought all these different receivers in to try and, make it all work. So I can see a world where you do pay Olave, obviously not the top dollar like the A.J. Brown numbers you were saying and Garrett Wilson's, but you got to find a way to make it work, but also find a way to make that work, but bring in somebody that complements him well in this draft. Or free agency, we'll see where that goes, but definitely in the draft, you need to find somebody that can complement him well.
I wish we would have gotten more of Shuck and Vele. We got a quick snippet that looked good. And then we lost it. And it was only 2-3 games that we lost, but I just wish you would have. That would have been a better data point to go into the draft with.
Yeah.
Because I'm okay if you take one in the first round. I don't know where you're picking, 10, 8, 11, whatever. But I'm not against getting a wide receiver to complement him. And again, you're looking at it as a position group investment, not necessarily at one guy.
Yeah.
And I think it makes sense.
And I think that will also open up a lot of his game because next year he's going to have a season where he had 100 catches, over 1,000 yards, almost 10 touchdowns. Probably has 10 touchdowns right now. Yeah, he's going to be on the game plan for other teams next year. So you need a guy that's going to open that up for him where they're going to try and take him away. Vele can eat. This receiver you're bringing can eat. Somebody else is going to have to eat because they're going to find a way to take him away.
Glen West, Talking Tigers next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Ochsner, not a new partner here. We certainly had our conversations every other Monday, but we'll be telling you about him every single day here on the Hunt Palmer Show. And obviously, this time of year, the end of the year and the beginning of the new year, everybody starts to think about some fitness goals. That's a very popular talking point. But a lot of times, all of a sudden, February rolls around and then the gym's empty. Well, at Ochsner Health, they've got a solution for you here to put some goals in place. Maybe put a 5K on your schedule, or maybe say, I want to add this much muscle. Make those goals measurable. Track your workouts, time your runs, log your reps. Keep it achievable. Don't go 7 days a week, crazy, running distances you've never run before. Stay realistic and choose those goals that work with your lifestyle. If you make small changes, they're more likely to stick. And then the most important thing they say at the end here is to give yourself a time frame, a target date where you can reach a goal so that you stay motivated and keep that goal in your sight. If you just kind of go willy-nilly and say, I'm going to eat healthier and be a little bit more healthy, well, what does that mean? And how long are you going to stick with that? But if you get some specific goals that are measurable, achievable, and realistic, put a time frame on them, folks at Ochsner know you can make those goals happen. You got a couple more days to let loose. Let loose today, let loose New Year's Eve, maybe New Year's Day too. That's a holiday. By the time we crank things up on the 2nd, or maybe that Monday on the 5th. We'll be ready to push off the dock here with some wellness in 2026. That's thanks to the folks at Ochsner Health.
My father, J.B. Falgu, had a vision of growth for First American Bank and the communities we serve. The bank's foundation was built on his legacy of compassion, loyalty, and dedication. Through his years of leadership, First American has prospered to heights even J.B. could not have imagined. I know my father would be extremely proud of the customer service and financial stability that First American provides to Southeast Louisiana. We continue to thrive because of the legacy of J.B. Falgu.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Sometimes you ignore the signs, even when they're right in front of you. Problem gambling isn't always easy to spot. Know the signs. Set your limit. Learn more about healthy gambling habits by visiting us online or text or call for free confidential help now.
Hi, I'm Mitchell Meredith with Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan & Associates. We take great pride in educating our clients about their rights. Whether you're injured at work or while you drive, call our office at 272-5555. Knowledge is power, and you should know your rights after an injury.
Hi, I'm Sean Fagan of Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan & Associates. When insurance companies have been unfair, we've never been afraid to go to trial. Fighting hard to protect your rights, we never settle a case out of convenience. We only settle when it's right for you. Whether you hire us at all, give us a call.
Most roofers just replace your shingles. At Pelican, we diagnose your roof, digging deep down to find the root cause of your roof symptoms. Now cough for me? Good. We don't ignore your roof's issues, we address them. Let's just take care of this right here. Helping your roof to become the best version of itself. Interesting that you would say that. How does that make you feel? So call Pelican Roofing for your free roof checkup today.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Daryl May Remax Partners. Looking for land to hunt or build? Call Daryl May Remax Partners.
Go with the Jim's Firearm Sightline. Glen West, senior editor, Go 24/7. Good enough to give us time on Tuesdays. One more time here in 2025. Glen, how are you?
Doing well, Hunt. How about yourself?
I'm doing quite nicely. The first segment of my show today kind of went through LSU's roster as it stands today, with the understanding it could be massively different 4 days from now with who's in the portal or somebody comes back out of the portal or draft decisions and all that kind of stuff. But just as a general thought, is there a position or two that you feel like LSU is in good shape moving into the portal season, or is it kind of we got to fix everything?
I think they're in pretty good shape at corner. If they're able to retain most of their cornerbacks, it's a young group, but also a very talented group. And I honestly, I would say linebacker too. I think there's a lot of talent and a lot of young depth, but I'm not saying that you don't address linebacker, because depending on what Weeks does, you're probably going to need some veteran experience in there, regardless. And so, but the depth and the quality of talent in those two rooms, I think, is pretty strong. I love, obviously, the incoming freshman defensive lineman, but you still need some experience in that room. So most of these positions are on the defensive side of the ball, where you've done a good job of building kind of a younger core there over the last couple of years with Blake Baker and his staff. But offensively, I think you're looking at a position group where at every position group is going to need some serious infusion of talent, not only from a starter perspective, but also from a depth and a competition perspective as well.
It's wild on the defensive line because they've got 10 guys that could come back next year. I'll quickly rattle them off and get your thoughts here on what needs to happen. But you got Don McKinley, you got Buddy Mathis, then you got Brandon Brown and Zion Williams. Sean Washington still got another year. And then on the edge, C.J. Jackson, Damian Shanklin, Gabe Relaford, Kalaj Cobbins, Dylan Carpenter. It's a lot of people. That's 10 guys, plus the class you mentioned where 4 come in the freshman class. That's 14 already, but I don't know if it's like a championship level 14. So, like, what do you do there?
Yeah, I think there's probably going to be a few more portal entries if I had to guess on that group. And I would think that LSU probably is very aggressive in signing a couple of edge, pass rushers in the portal. I think that's kind of where you have to start with that defensive line. And then you certainly look at the defensive tackle group, and Bernard Gooden and Jacobian Guillory are a couple guys that are moving on from the program, veteran experience talent there. I would expect LSU to be aggressive in going to sign at least one, if not more, interior linemen. But I do kind of like some of the younger pieces in that program, in that defensive line room. I mean, I think they just signed Shanklin, and they really are high on his long-term potential. And some of the other guys that they've brought in over the last couple of years, I think, are talented. But really, for me, I think the core of this group, when you look at it, and I know it's not something that you have to really, or you can really bank on in year one, but just this freshman group of defensive linemen is just going to be really, really important. They're ready to play because I do think that LSU is going to be asking at least one or two of them to play some snaps next year. Whether it's Lamar Brown, Deuce Geralds, Trenton Henderson, or Richard Anderson. So that's a good nucleus there when you build for the future. But yeah, I'm certainly in that boat too. That there's a lot of guys, but there's just not a whole lot of proven experience right now with that defensive line.
All right, let's go over to the offense. You talked about a number of positions. Let's start at running back. Like, what does your gut tell you the next 3 weeks look like at running back for LSU?
My gut says that they probably are in that 2 to 3 range in terms of adding running backs. I think if you're able to return one of Harlan Berry and Caden Durham, that's a win. I'm not sure if you can get both back and then also be super aggressive for a potential star running back or a couple of really big contributing running backs. So I think that LSU is going to work really hard to get Harlan back. I think that's obviously conversations that are already ongoing, but I think that you're looking at a pretty major overhaul there with potentially 2, maybe even 3 guys that LSU has to go land in the portal.
And then at wide receiver, the names that I wrote down are Kyle Parker, Nick Anderson, Destin Hill, Phillip Wright, and Teron Francis. That's 5. And I would be surprised if all 5 of those guys were on the field, were on the roster when LSU played Clemson. So you're pretty light on numbers there. You signed 3 in the freshman class, but I think it's similar to last year where LSU went hard to find playmakers there. You feel like they're headed that direction again?
Yeah, absolutely. I think probably 2 or 3 at the wide receiver position as well. And I mean, you're just rattling off all these numbers in your head, and it's like, man, they better hit on most of these guys because there's going to be a lot of turnover with this roster. But I trust Lane Kiffin and this offensive staff a lot. I mean, like they've proven that they can go in and find impact talent at all these positions. One guy that I think I'd probably keep an eye on from a receiver perspective is the Ole Miss wideout Winston Watkins. I think he's somebody that is very close with Kiffin and that staff, and he's caught 25, 26 passes as a true freshman, and so he could be kind of a burner for you if you're able to, if he ultimately decides to go in the portal after his freshman season's over. But they're going to be looking to add more talent there too. And honestly, I like some of these pieces they have. Like I like Kyle Parker. I think he showed you something there in the Texas Bowl, but I've always kind of liked him as kind of a just kind of a durable, reliable piece for the wide receiver room. I still think Nick Anderson has talent, and he's been injury plagued these last couple of years. But if he can find a way to get back to close to his Oklahoma form, I think that what Kiffin's scheme and what this offense could do for him is really intriguing. And then a guy like Teron Francis and Destin Hill, I think, are 2 guys that are pieces in this program that you could use and see coming back next year and having a role with this offense. So I do think they need to go add some starter experience, but I also think that they have some okay pieces that you can at least use in this scheme and use in this offense next year.
If I include all 3 running backs, that includes Durham, Berry, and JT Lindsey. If I include Braylon Moore, if I include Whit Weeks, like all those guys baked in, I've got 47 potential returners and then 14 signees. That's only 61 being generous. You could have 56, 57 at this point.
Yeah.
How many transfer portal guys do you think they're going to add?
I did this experiment. I've done this exercise a lot over the last couple of weeks, just kind of writing down the minimum and maximum. I think the minimum I could see is like 18, 19, and then the maximum I had was 25, 26. Like, I think that's kind of the range that they go for because at a lot of these positions, you're not only going to be looking for quality starters, but you have to also kind of build up the depth chart back in those rooms a little bit too. I mean, quarterback, you didn't mention quarterback there. If Michael Van Buren comes back, you're still going to have to, probably go sign 2 more quarterbacks. Yep. And if Michael Van Buren leaves, you're going to probably need to, completely rebuild that room and go get 3 guys. So I think it's going to be very interesting how they allocate that money. That's what the last several weeks have been like, I think, for Lane Kiffin and Billy Glasscock, just kind of laying out all their potential options. But for me, I kind of see kind of the minimum 18, 19, and then maximum 25, 26, and unless you're talking about adding just guys to help fill out the roster on at the end of it. I think 25, 26 is kind of incorporating the guys that you could bring in and see maybe competing for playing time or being, for sure starters.
LSU hammered Southern Miss last night in the PMAC to finish their non-conference 12-1. They go to College Station coming up on Saturday. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, it was a good win last night. They had 19 assists on 32 makes. It was very much kind of the bread and butter of this offense when they're clicking. They had some guys hitting some outside shots. 5 different players hit threes. Dedon Thomas hit a couple, which is really important for me to see. I think he's going to have to play a much larger role from the perimeter as a outside scorer for LSU in conference play. I'm still a little skeptical on the depth behind the starting 5. I mean, the starting 5 scored, I think, 79 of your 90 points last night, and there wasn't a whole ton of reliability from the bench, but they're going to continue to try to develop that and build that depth up. But that starting 5 is going to have to take on a lot of minutes, and I think it's going to be important that not only do they not get in foul trouble, but they also stay healthy and all that stuff. But I think it's a starting 5 in a group that can compete with most in the SEC, or at least the top, or at least half of the SEC. But there's still certainly some concerns that you look at going into this thing that you could see it going either way as to how successful that they are in conference play, in my opinion.
I think it's going to be interesting, and that's better than we've seen in a few of these years. So I think that's a positive, and we'll see just how well they can play probably in the last 5-6 minutes of a lot of games, and that'll probably determine where they are at the end of this thing. Glenn, we appreciate some time. What you got?
The thing is the SEC is not as strong as it was last year, and so I do think that there are going to be some teams that maybe were really good last year that LSU can compete with a little bit more this year, and maybe be on the winning end of some of those games.
I think one of those comes up on Saturday. I think they got a chance to go to College Station and win against a team that's not as good. So we shall see. Glenn, we appreciate the time. Happy New Year, and we'll talk to you again once the portal season cranks up.
Absolutely. Sounds great, Hunt. Thank you for having me.
Glenn West, senior writer, Go 24/7. All your team coverage, they got you covered over there at Go 24/7. I want to remind you about Lifetime Roofing, lifetimeroofingla.com. January 1st, not that far away, 2 days. January 1st, lifetime workmanship warranty from Lifetime Roofing. Lifetime workmanship warranty. You heard that right. It's an amazing offer from the folks at Lifetime Roofing. So give them a call or go online to lifetimeroofingla.com and look into it. Everybody thinks about filing an insurance claim or there's a storm. That's when you got to go get a new roof. But sometimes you just need a new roof. Maybe you're selling your home, or maybe you just don't feel like you have an adequate roof at the moment. It's pretty important. Your house is a big investment, and the people in it are the most important thing in your life. Well, Lifetime Roofing is happy to help you out with a retail roof. They can make that happen, and they can finance it for you. 0% for 18 months, same as cash. So if you're looking to finance a roof or looking to finance a deductible because there has been an event and you are getting insurance involved, Lifetime Roofing has a claims department that can help you with that, and you can finance that deductible. Check them out online at lifetimeroofingla.com. That's lifetimeroofingla.com. We'll come back and close out the hour looking at ESPN's all-rookie team. Saints showing up big. We'll talk about it.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Hey, what about my friends at Fabry Chevrolet GMC? They're on Highway 61 in St. Francisville. Just opened up shop, new ownership on October the 1st. But you know the Fabry name. They've been here better than 3 decades, working on a 4th. You get great customer service, great deals, and a great experience, whether it's buying or in the service department. Remind you, their service department there at Fabry Chevrolet GMC, Highway 61 in St. Francisville, services all makes in the service department. So if you've got a road trip coming up or you just got something that's not quite right with your ride and you're up in the St. Francisville area, go in the service department. Let them check it out. They got a great inventory, huge inventory of new and pre-owned vehicles. You can find it all online if you want to at FabryChevrolet.com, or you can make that short drive to St. Francisville and check them out on Highway 61. It's Fabry Chevrolet GMC. They're online at FabryChevrolet.com.
Lock Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates has won for our clients over $175 million over the decades, but our greatest success is our clients who have chosen and trusted us to help them. Whether you hire us at all, give us a call. You've got nothing to lose.
Hi, I'm Sean Fagan. If you get injured, you could be staring at medical bills, repair costs, and lost income. Life can be turned upside down. At Lock Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates, we'll work to turn your world right side up. Hire us, and like thousands of our clients, you'll be glad you did.
Every winner knows a great play starts with a solid game plan and the right team by your side. At Sunshine, we're here to keep your operation running strong. From tractors to harvesters, we've got the John Deere equipment you need to tackle every job with confidence. Because when the work's done right, there's more time for the things that matter, like cheering on your favorite team. Make Sunshine Quality Solutions part of your playbook this season and learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
These ice cubes could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they cradle and cool the crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Nicely done, Ice Cubes.
Man, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
Sometimes you ignore the signs, even when they're right in front of you. Problem gambling isn't always easy to spot. Know the signs, set your limit. Learn more about healthy gambling habits by visiting us online or text or call for free, confidential help now.
South Louisiana, it's turnaround season, and River Parish Contractors is calling in the best of the best. We're hiring pipe fitters, iron workers, boiler makers, combo and structural welders, rig welders, carpenters, crane operators, dirt operators, and more. If you're ready to work, ready to earn, and ready to build something that lasts, call Big Jake at 318-547-1000 or go to rpcontractors.com. River Parish Contractors. Let's get building.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Daryl May Remax Partners. Looking for land to hunt or build? Call Daryl May Remax Partners.
All right, wrapping up the hour here. Tuesday show is brought to you by Daryl May Remax Partners. ESPN came out with their all-rookie team with 1 week to go. Best first-year players by position. And I was like, okay, well, that's something that the Saints might be featured pretty prominently in. Let's go check it out. And they were. Right now, the Saints have 4 first-year players listed on this team. You got Tyler Ishaq, who is, and they do first and second team in some instances, and Ishaq is second team right behind Cam Ward. And I think that if you polled 20 people in the league, I think Ishaq might get a nod there. Now, it's not a slam dunk. Ward was great on Sunday, and he's played much better in November, December than he did in September, October, which you'd expect. And Ishaq was on the bench for that. So Ward deserves a little bit of that. But, I mean, Ishaq, in terms of Rookie of the Year odds, is in a better spot there. And I think everyone in New Orleans feels really good about that. He was on the second team. The left tackle on this team, Kelvin Banks. Now, you're not going to have a ton of rookie left tackles. It's not something that happens all the time. But if you look at Pro Football Focus grades, you look at what people who watch tape for a living think, Kelvin Banks has had a good rookie year. Would I call it dominant? No. Would I call it serviceable? Yeah. Would I call it encouraging? Yeah, I would. I think that the Saints did a good job on that draft pick. When you pick that high in the draft and you got a lot of needs and you double up, because you had taken, what's tripling up, you had taken Penning, then you had taken Fuaga, and then you went Banks, you need a hit. And it looks like there's a good chance that they did. Kelvin Banks is listed as the left tackle. Quincy Riley, first-team cornerback on this list. I think Quincy Riley has done some really good things this year. He's shown up, made some plays on the football. The Saints defense before last week, where they got gashed a little bit at times, has played great football, and he's been a part of it. And you consider the fact that Quincy Riley is a 4th-round pick who didn't get his first start until week 5. He hasn't given it up. He's been a starter since then. And so I think that's a really, really good thing. Alontae Taylor has one more year left on that deal. So you may see Quincy Riley usurp that role, or they decide to pay Taylor and do a little something different with him. But Quincy Riley's been very good. You get some ESPN recognition from that. And then Jonas Sanker, who the Saints took in the 3rd round as well. He's been really good in a lot of different aspects. You read this piece and they say he's been a premier communicator and coverage player. The film guys that are watching say he takes great angles, rarely false steps, doesn't get fooled by route distributions, looks like a 10-year vet, but has the spry legs of a rookie, which allows him to make plays sideline to sideline. You notice Jonas Sanker when you watch the Saints play. That's something I like in defensive players. Like, I don't want to notice the offensive linemen. I want to notice the defensive guys. And you notice Jonas Sanker. So any way you want to slice it, to have 4 draft picks on this list of the best or second best at their position among the rookie class is huge for this team. We sat here before this draft and went, they have to hit on this draft. You simply must. And that's before we knew they were taking a quarterback. When you take a quarterback, that has to be a hit. And it looks like it is. Banks at left tackle. Consider the fact that the Saints could be in a spot where they've got rookie deals at quarterback and left tackle for multiple seasons. That is such an advantageous spot to be in. And if you can hit on one more of these and find yourself 3 or 4 more starters on the cheap and roll some of these contracts off the book that are in their mid-30s, and they're out there, it can be closer than we thought in August. It can be closer than we thought in November. Like, it could be close. This is not Homer, Louisiana media talking about the Saints rookies playing better by his eye. This is ESPN evaluating the entire league, watching a ton of tape with advanced metrics. They're telling you Ishaq, Banks, Riley, and Sanker are as good as anybody in the league at that position as a rookie. That's huge. Now you got to do it again. Got to find a way to do it again. That's it for hour number 1 here on this Tuesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Daryl May of RE/MAX Partners. Come back in hour 2, talk some LSU hoops, and we'll have Sharief talking Saints as well. Also, I got a college football playoff preview next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
First American Bank and Trust. First American Bank and Trust. Started up in 1910. World's changed a little bit since 1910. First American Bank and Trust, still right here in Southeast Louisiana, 115, working on 116 years later. Why do business with a local bank? I'll tell you this all the time, because you're dealing with people that are right here in your community. You're dealing with people who know you. You're dealing with people whose kids go to school with your kids, who attend church with you. You're dealing with people who have made their home here in Southeast Louisiana. And you might think, well, that makes you kind of a mom and pop shop. Like, this is a pretty big loan I'm looking for. Can you handle that? Well, they got 25 locations. They've got the ability to handle your commercial loan. They've got the ability to handle your residential loan. Deal with First American Bank and Trust, one of their 25 locations throughout Southeast Louisiana. All the decisions are made right here. It's First American Bank and Trust. They want to wish you a happy new year at First American Bank and Trust.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Flight by Yingling is raising the bar by crafting the next generation of light beer. With only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories, this is premium refreshment 6 generations in the making. Flight by Yingling. Raise the bar.
Lock Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates has won for our clients over $175 million over the decades, but our greatest success is our clients who have chosen and trusted us to help them. Whether you hire us at all, give us a call. You've got nothing to lose.
Hi, I'm Sean Fagan. If you get injured, you could be staring at medical bills, repair costs, and lost income. Life can be turned upside down. At Lock Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates, we'll work to turn your world right side up. Hire us, and like thousands of our clients, you'll be glad you did.
Hi, this is Beth Serena. Welcome to my pool. The first time I saw this beautiful pool, it exceeded every expectation that I had. They were able to get everything we wanted in this pool. It is a beautiful pool. We live out here, we eat out here, we watch TV out here. This is like our living room outside. We love this pool and everything about it. When we decided to build our pool, we called a great friend who is one of the best pool builders in the country in North Louisiana, and we said, who would you choose to build a pool in Baton Rouge? And without a hesitation, he told us Russell Pools. He said their history, tradition of great builds, great pools was unmatched. So of course, who did we call? Russell Pools. The advice I would give to anyone looking to build a pool is first call Russell Pools. They'll do an incredible job. It'll be incredibly organized. It'll be time efficient. And you will have your pool in no time.
Man, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Patriots receiver Stephon Diggs is facing a felony charge of strangulation and a misdemeanor charge of assault from an alleged incident on December 2nd. A judge is deciding whether to impound the court documents ahead of his January 23rd arraignment. Diggs categorically denied the allegations. Cowboys released cornerback Trayvon Diggs due to what the team said was a culmination of events, including performance. He'll be put on waivers. Steelers optimistic star pass rusher TJ Watt will be able to return from a partially collapsed lung and be available Sunday night versus the Ravens. Winner of that game claims the AFC North and 4 seed for the playoffs. Loser goes home for good. If Pittsburgh loses, could that be it for Coach Mike Tomlin and the Steelers? ESPN NFL insider Dan Graziano.
If you ask Tomlin about his job status, he would tell you he hasn't thought about it. He's probably on some level telling you the truth because he's trying to win this game. So I believe that. I also believe that Pittsburgh management is not going to be interested in firing Mike Tomlin.
Dan Graziano on Unsportsmanlike. NBA Nuggets superstar center Nikola Jokic will miss at least 4 weeks with a hyperextended left knee. He has a bone bruise in the knee as well.
Hey, it's Courtney Cronin. Coming up on Wednesday on Unsportsmanlike, coaches' seats around the NFL are heating up. Who should be most concerned heading into Week 18? It's Unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
He needs care and treatment.
You are now listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Daryl May Remax Partners on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Is this a great country or what?
Locking down the middle of the day, live from the Raising Cane studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Hour 2, final hour of 2025 here on the Hunt Palmer Show. Looking forward to it. We're going to talk some LSU basketball coming up in 15 minutes. Tigers got a 30-point win back last night against Southern Miss. I got a column up on LouisianaSports.net talking about why this team feels a little bit different, and I'll talk about that coming up in our next segment. Sharief, Ishaq, 30 minutes from now, talking more New Orleans Saints. Got to get you a score update from Shreveport, Louisiana. The Independence Bowl. Coastal Carolina and Louisiana Tech. How could you miss it? 7-0 Chanticleers at this point. Big day for the Chanticleers, I think, because they're playing a postseason game against the Louisiana team. They don't have to face Cade Anderson. They don't have to face Anthony Heinsohn. Don't have to face Chase Shores. Don't have to pitch to Curiel. Don't have to pitch to Milam. Just take on the Bulldogs. That's all. That's it for the Chanticleers.
But can we make sure their head coach doesn't get kicked out like the manager?
I cannot make sure, but we'll see. But that would he's made it longer than their manager now because that was the first inning on the Sunday game. I haven't thought about that in a while. I forgot the umpire had the audacity to run the coach in the first inning of a championship game. Yeah. My God in heaven, just don't even get me started on that. I had so many people tweeting at me like, you can't do that. You can't do it. Yes, you can. You can yell at the umpire if you need to. He just needs to not listen. And don't throw out a coach in the first inning of a championship. I wasn't even planning on doing that. But that's your fault, Jordan.
Hey, it's the best of 2025.
Okay. Let's talk about the college football playoff. I am actually very excited for the college football playoff over the next 2 days. And you might say, well, why would you not be? You watch college football, you pay attention to college football, it's a playoff, you got big brands, you got iconic stadiums and venues. Like, how can you not be excited? I'll be honest, like, I don't like when teams I don't like win at a high level. It irks me. And I've talked about this routinely. I don't get injured when Georgia wins. I don't care if Ohio State wins. I feel no true feeling toward Georgia or Ohio State. I do not care at all about Oregon. And I really don't care that much about Alabama anymore. I feel like I've kind of lost that war. And if we're being honest, I'm not that scared of Kalen DeBoer. And I think he's a good coach who will win a lot of games at Alabama. I don't fear that he's going to turn them back into Sabanville. And so I don't care if they win another game or two. I don't think they're going to win a championship. I'm going to talk about it in a second. The only team I care about that's left is Ole Miss. Because I feel like, right or wrong, it's how I feel, that I am in this elite club as an LSU alum, as an LSU grad, as an LSU fan. I got national championships. I'm in this club, and Bama's here, and Ohio State's here, and Clemson's here. And, you got USC, Miami, Texas is here, and Auburn show up, and they got a table over in the corner. And, yeah, Michigan, they're recently that came back in. But I'm in this club, and we have exclusive access, and A&M doesn't, and Ole Miss doesn't, and they can just kind of go away. And I don't want them in the club, okay? That may be a stupid way to feel, but it's how I feel. And so I was thrilled when A&M got beat. It's petty, and it's weak, and they crushed my team in Tiger Stadium, dominated them 2 years in a row, unequivocally, and it's petty for me to sit back and feel that way, but I can't really help it. It just is how I feel. And now they're swatted back to the bottom of the mountain where I like them, and that's great. And I just need Ole Miss to go back to where they came from, the bottom of the mountain, and then I'll be completely freed up. And to be honest, I don't think Ole Miss is going to beat Ohio State. I don't think Ole Miss is going to beat Georgia. And then if they did beat Georgia, I don't think they're going to beat Ohio State. So I think that that's pretty safe. So I'm really excited to watch some stress-free football. I've broken these games down. As you're all perfectly well aware, I'm a brilliant point spread handicapper. I make excellent picks. Never mind the fact that I was 20 games below 500 or whatever it was for the SEC season. That's neither here nor there. This is not all SEC football. This is playoff football. I'm a playoff guy. I got a 2019 national championship. I was on the radio broadcast team, integral to that team's success. When they talk about that team, they constantly talk about Burrow. They constantly talk about Chase and Jefferson, and they always bring up Palmer on the pre and post game constantly.
Big game hunt.
And I was there for the championship game. They did it without me in against Oklahoma, and they did a good job of making sure that they took care of business that day without me in the building. But hey, I was part of that. So let's get some playoff picks here, starting on New Year's Eve at 6:30. 10 seed Miami, 2 seed Ohio State. Now, Bain on Ohio State's defensive line just destroyed Texas A&M. Destroyed them. Can they do that to Ohio State's offensive line to make sure that Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate don't start cooking with Julian Sayin? Because you keep in mind, this is the second big 1-2 punch that they've had to face at wide receiver. They held Mario Craver and Casey Concepcion to a combined 11 catches for 124 yards. So, aside from one 59-yarder from Craver, they didn't do a ton in that game. Miami had 7 sacks against A&M. Bain had 3 of them. Now, Ohio State has only given up 11 sacks through 13 games. That's 6 in the country. But Indiana had 5 of them. So Indiana got after them and got into the backfield and made things tough on Sayin, and they didn't score a lot of points. So can Bain and that Miami defensive front, which I was so impressed with, do that to Ohio State? We'll see. Miami's also got to get Mark Fletcher going. At A&M, 17 carries for 172 yards. Ohio State's 5th in the country in yards per game allowed rushing, and they held Indiana at only 3.5 yards per carry. That's Miami's ticket. The key here for Miami is not for Carson Beck to throw the ball 41 times. The key for Miami is for the D-line to win up front and to run the ball with Mark Fletcher. I think they can do that. Now, if Beck throws 3 picks, all bets are off. But I think Miami can stay in this thing. I'm going to take them plus the 9.5. I think they lose. They may lose by 7. But I think they stay in it with that defensive line in the running game. So give me Miami plus the 9.5. All right, on the other year, 2026. Let's go to New Year's Day. 11 a.m., big one. Oregon, Texas Tech in the Orange Bowl. The Red Raiders are top 5 nationally in scoring defense, total defense, and they lead the country in run defense. Nasty group on the defensive side. Meanwhile, Oregon is 2nd in the country in yards per carry rushing. They love to run the football. They do it really well. Now, this said, Oregon played 3 top 15 defenses this year. They played Indiana, Iowa, and Washington. And in those 3 games, they only scored 21.3 points per game. Not gangbusters against the good defense they played. Same story here for Texas Tech, though. They've only played 2 top 40 offenses in the country. I like Oregon and Dante Moore at quarterback more than I like Baron Morton. Baron Morton's got the lowest QBR remaining of the quarterbacks in the college football playoff. But I like the Texas Tech defense. And I think they're ready to play on this stage. They've had a pretty manageable Big 12 schedule. It's not a great league at all. And y'all know I'm elitist in that way. But I think that the defense is legitimate. I think they shopped in the right places in the transfer portal, spent the right amount of money. I think they're playing with a lot of confidence. 2.5 is a short number. I'm going to take Texas Tech. I think they can win this game outright. I will take them plus the 2.5 in that one. New Year's Day, Rose Bowl, 3 o'clock our time. Indiana, the 1 seed. Bama, the 9 seed. 7 is the number Indiana's favorite. You've heard me talk about Bama's running game time and time again. They're 127th in the country in yards per carry if you exclude sacks. And when they lose, it might be coming up this week. It might come on Thursday. It might be the next round. But when they lose, which they will, it will be because they didn't run the ball at all. The Tide has been outgained in their last 2 wins by more than 100 yards. They've won 4 games this year when they've been outgained. Now, you can say that's great coaching. You can say that's gutting them out and winning tight games. Or you can say that's not exactly the way to sustain winning. Now, Indiana loses Stephen Daly, 19 tackles for loss, second in the country. That's a big loss for them because he would have been a big key to getting in Simpson's face. Bama's path in this game is the quick passing game and run after the catch from Jeremy Bernard and Lazio Brooks and Ryan Williams, making big plays, and also the defense getting turnovers. Consider this. They had the pick 6 right before the half against Tennessee, which completely threw that game out of whack. Tennessee was going down for a touchdown to cut the lead, threw a pick 6 in the last play of the half. Just absolutely crippling to the Vols there. Vanderbilt, in that game in Tuscaloosa, 2 red zone turnovers on offense that Bama forced. And then they got the huge pick 6 when they were down against Oklahoma. These are game-changing turnover plays that Bama has been creating. That's how you win games when you get outgained. Indiana's second in the country in turnover margin. They're third in terms of fewest giveaways. They don't turn the ball over. I don't think Alabama's going to run the ball on Indiana. I don't think Indiana's going to turn the ball over. And I think Indiana is going to cover the 7 in this game. I don't think this is bias. I don't think I'm being unrealistic. I've watched Bama play a lot this year. I'm not impressed with their physicality. I'm not impressed with the consistency with which they play. They've got talent. They make talented plays. Simpson's talented. Bernard is talented. Some of those defensive players that make individual plays are talented. But down in and down out, their physicality, their discipline, I like Indiana. I like Indiana to win comfortably by more than 7, probably more than 10. And then got New Year's Day, Sugar Bowl right down the road, Ole Miss at Georgia. 6.5 is the number here. The Dogs are obviously favored. How about this? This is a good stat for LSU fans. I love this stat. LSU fan love this stat. Do y'all realize when Ole Miss went to Athens this year, they scored a touchdown on their first 5 drives? Lane Kiffin's going to get these 4 and 5 stars in Baton Rouge. He's going to score points. He's going to score a ton of points. He went to Athens against Kirby Smart in that place where they never lose and scored a touchdown on the first 5 possessions. Now, keep in mind they had 13 yards total in the fourth quarter. Chambliss went 1 for 10, so it turned on a dime. And that's not as great for LSU fans. But touchdowns in the first 5 possessions is good. Kewan Lacey is probable for this game. They've listed him that way. He's got the shoulder injury, but he's running great. Last 5 games, 134 yards per game, 6.2 yards per carry. In the last 5 games, Kewan Lacey is averaging 4.3 yards after contact. He's just a bull of a running back. We'll see how he can run with that shoulder. Now, Georgia's defense has turned a corner. They're allowing 7.3 points per game in the last 4 games of the season. And look, here's the big part. It's not Chambliss and Lacey. It's not the Georgia defense. It's that the Georgia offense, I think, can impose its will on Ole Miss's average defense. I think Ole Miss is an average defense. In the first meeting between these two teams, Georgia carried the ball 49 times for 221 and a touchdown. They ran the ball very, very well. And as they ran it very, very well, Gunnar Stockton found a rhythm. He went 26 out of 31 in that game for 289 and 4 touchdowns. A lot of the quick passing game, very efficient, some yard after catches, 4 touchdowns, no mistakes. I just think the Bulldog offense is going to be able to impose its will on Ole Miss's defense, and I don't think Ole Miss will be able to keep up with that against the Georgia defense. I think Ole Miss can score on most defenses. Not as much on the Georgia defense as they did early in that game. Kirby will have these guys ready. They'll be more rested than Ole Miss, who had to play. Lacey's kind of banged up. I like Georgia to cover the 6.5. So my picks, Miami plus 9.5. I like Texas Tech plus 2.5. I like Indiana minus the 7. And I like Georgia minus the 6.5. That's my story. You've been listening to Picks all week, Jordan. What do they got?
I will say this. A lot of people, I mean, even though you just said it, a lot of people have Miami. Like, I don't know what it is. Well, you have them covered. You don't necessarily have them winning the game.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to win.
Yeah, I think they will cover. They're going to have to bring it, man, because if everybody knows, famously, Jeremiah Smith, he was supposed to go to Miami. He's from Miami. He's from the area. He's been chirping all week saying how a lot of the players on Miami went to high school with him. Like, those are guys he played against. So it's going to be intense. It's going to be a lot of chirping. So I can see Miami bringing it. I want Ohio State to be eliminated. I don't like anything Ohio State, what they got going on with the Big Ten. All these Big Ten people worry about the SEC, so I want Ohio State out of there. I will say this, though. We both want Ole Miss to be disintegrated. We want Kirby Smart to run it up, get him out the dome. And
Hunker down, you hairy dogs.
And then you know what? The fact that they're in the dome, the sugar, they're in our state right now.
Yeah.
Ole Miss is in our state. They're penetrated our city, our state. Well, it's not New Orleans, but they've infiltrated. They got to go by any means necessary. Kirby Smart, finish the job, get him out, get our coaches back, and let's get the ball rolling.
I'll be sitting there on New Year's Eve. We're having a low-key night, going to do some sparklers with the Myers man. Wife and I might have a glass of champagne.
Real chill.
It's not going to be wild and crazy in the Palmer house, but I'll be watching this game. And I have to pull for Ohio State in case Ole Miss beats Georgia. I have to have Ohio State as my buffer beyond that because I cannot have Ole Miss in the national final. And they're going to have to beat Georgia and Ohio State or Miami to get there. I'll have to pull for Miami. I'll have to pull for Ohio State because I can't have Ole Miss get into the final.
Okay, I just want to say this, Hunt. What's the doomsday scenario if Ole Miss, let's just say they actually make it to the national championship?
That's awful. I got to let them in the club at that point.
Well, we didn't say they win it. We didn't say they win it yet.
I don't even want them to get there. I don't even want them to think they were even close.
Okay. But it's the doomsday scenario that they made it this far up into the national championship without Lane Kiffin.
I don't care about that. I don't care about the Kiffin thing.
Okay.
All I care about is the Ole Miss fans knowing where they stand. And where they should stand is in the Grove with a solo cup and a chandelier and a 4-7 football team. That's where they should stand. I don't need them standing anywhere near national championship. That's where I stand.
Yeah.
I stand there every 5, 7, 8 years. They don't stand there. I stand there. They don't stand there.
Okay.
So get out.
So doomsday, we're just saying.
Get out. All right, speaking of teams that don't win national championships, LSU basketball hasn't done that in my lifetime. I hope they do one day. I don't know that it's going to be this year, but I watched them play well last night, and let's talk about it next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Highland Insurance Group, HighlandIG.com is that website. Jonathan Carver and his team, great folks to work with when it comes to your benefits, your employee benefits. We know how important benefits are to acquiring talent to your organization, to retaining talent in your organization. You want to make sure that you've got fantastic health care. You want to make sure that you got fantastic benefits. And we know that there is a certain carrier that's cracking those rates up time and time again. And all of a sudden it gets untenable, it gets uncomfortable. If that's happened to you or you feel it may be happening to you at your next renewal, the Howard Insurance Group has options. They're an independent broker. They can shop your benefits as a different option. So if you've got a renewal coming that you grit your teeth going, I just don't know if I can deal with that. Let Jonathan Carver and his team help you with it. Just have a conversation with them. See what they can do. Let them explore other options. It's the Highland Insurance Group. They can help you with your property and casualty. You know that. They can certainly help you with benefits as well. It's the Highland Insurance Group. Find them online, HighlandIG.com.
My father, J.B. Falgu, had a vision of growth for First American Bank and the communities we serve. The bank's foundation was built on his legacy of compassion, loyalty, and dedication. Through his years of leadership, First American has prospered to heights even JB could not have imagined. I know my father would be extremely proud of the customer service and financial stability that First American provides to Southeast Louisiana. We continue to thrive because of the legacy of JB Falgu.
With all the delicious chicken finger options, it was an impossible decision.
How about a box combo? Good. Now what can I get for you?
No, I want a Caniac combo with extra cane sauce, no slaw, 2 extra toast, and a half sweet tea, half lemonade.
Celebrate the holidays with Raising Cane's chicken fingers. One love.
South Louisiana, it's turnaround season, and River Parish Contractors is calling in the best of the best. We're hiring pipe fitters, iron workers, boiler makers, combo and structural welders, rig welders, carpenters, crane operators, dirt operators, and more. If you're ready to work, ready to earn, and ready to build something that lasts, call Big Jake at 318-547-1000 or go to rpcontractors.com. River Parish Contractors. Let's get building.
I'm Lawyer Locke Meredith. We are honored and humbled to receive from our clients in Google. Based on 5-star client reviews, the designation of our law firm is highly recommended. Whether you hire us at all, please give us a call, 272-5555. You have nothing to lose.
Hi, I'm Mitchell Meredith. Injuries happen when you least expect them to, making your life more complicated. At Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates, we know this, and we strive to help each of our clients during these times. Whether you hire us at all, give us a call at 272-5555.
We typically think of stress as being bad for us. At Our Lady of the Lake and LSU, we are researching how certain types of stress, such as exercise, can be good for our immune health. By studying people under extreme stress, such as athletes, astronauts, service members, and first responders, we're learning how to improve the immune health of everyone. That's the power of research. That's the impact of champions. Together, we roar.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
Investing in a new roof doesn't have to be overwhelming. At Pelican Roofing, we offer 0 interest for 21 months because everyone deserves a safe, secure home. Trust it?
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Daryl May Remax Partners. Looking for land to hunt or build? Call Daryl May Remax Partners.
Talk Saints with Sharief Ishaq coming up in about 10 minutes from right now. LSU beat Southern Miss last night by 28 points in the PMAC. And watching the game, it was LSU really playing to its identity. Now, Southern Miss is not a great team, but I've seen not great teams come into the PMAC a lot. And I've seen LSU kind of limp by them, win some sort of 74-69 game where, yeah, they were up 6 or 7 and team threw in a late 3. And it wasn't necessarily they were going to lose, but was it a convincing win? No. And there have been games where LSU's not played very well this year. They weren't very good against Prairie View. Prairie was just throwing everything under the sun in, and LSU couldn't get a stop. LSU's defense, offense was good against a SWAC team. I would expect that. But they didn't play a good defense, and they gave up way too many points in the game. But when they play well, this is what it looks like. First of all, De'Don Thomas dominated this basketball game. Dominated it. He was 8 of 11 from the floor. That's not even really the most important part, even though it's really good. He had 12 assists. 12 of LSU's 19 assists. LSU assisted on 19 of 32 makes in this game. And Thomas was able to knock down a couple of threes. He was able to probe the defense, get into the paint, throw in a couple of floaters, hit a couple of lobs. He controlled everything. And that's what he's got to do. He's the heartbeat of the team. And when he controls things, it frees things up for the other two guys that they count on for heavy contributions offensively. And then that's Mike Nwoku, who was 10 of 13 last night. He's in the top 10 in the country in shooting percentage. 10 for 13 is not going to hurt that. He goes for 22 points, grabs 6 rebounds. He threw down 2 different alley-oop dunks from De'Don Thomas on easy feeds that they're just so good and in sync on. A lot of it's on high ball screen action. Some of it's on just some penetration stuff where there's help defense. But he's one, and then Max McKinnon's the other. McKinnon knocked down 3 of his first 5 threes. Now he missed his last 4, but he knocked down 3 of the first 5 and had 15 points and did what he needs to do to stretch the defense. And that's LSU's identity offensively. Markel Sutton will have better games than he had. He was 0-5 from 3. He missed 7 of his 10 shots. But the other guys picked up the slack. And that's LSU handling things offensively. Oh, by the way, to go with shooting 52% from the floor, to go with Deon Thomas having another career high 12 assists, to go with Nwoku's 22 points and McKinnon's early threes, the team turned the ball over 6 times in the game. In the game. I mean, I've watched LSU basketball play a ton where they beat bad teams and they turn the ball over 14, 16 times. But this team doesn't do that because you got really mature guards in McKinnon and certainly Thomas who handle themselves. And then the good part that is something that I haven't seen a ton of was that LSU blocked some shots last night. They blocked 11 shots. Mike Nwoku had 5 blocks. That's a rim protection aspect that LSU has lacked the last few years. And Southern Miss is not good, as I mentioned, but Southern Miss played South Carolina into overtime. Lost by 4. Southern Miss played Ole Miss to a 4-point game. And Southern Miss came into the PMAC, and LSU beat them by 30. And then you look at some of the other teams that LSU has played this year and kind of where their standing is. SMU beat Mississippi State in Starkville. SMU beat Texas A&M in Fort Worth. SMU came to New Orleans, and LSU laid them to waste in the second half. Smoked them in the second half. So there are some games against some teams that are functional. DePaul beat Georgia Tech by double digits. And then the next day in Destin, after DePaul had beaten Georgia Tech by double digits, I think that number, let me make sure I got that right. Yeah, they beat them by 14. DePaul beat Georgia Tech by 14. The next day, LSU beat DePaul by 33. I am not here to tell you that this LSU team is going to challenge the top of the SEC. I don't believe that. I have watched Bama play. LSU's not that good. I've watched Tennessee play. LSU's not that good. LSU's not as good as Florida. There are other teams in this league LSU's not as good at. Arkansas can be really good this year if Cal can get out of the way. But there are teams in this league that look like DePaul, that look like SMU. And LSU crushed those teams. And when they play their best offensively, they can be pretty good. So I'm not suggesting, this is what I wrote in a column at LouisianaSports.net. I've got some more stats in it, and it's better to read, obviously, if you got a chance to do that. But I'm not here to tell you that LSU's going from the outhouse to the penthouse. You're not going from 3-14 to 14-3. I'm not even trying to get in that stratosphere with you. But I'm telling you, I think they can be a 500 team. Close to a 500 team. And that puts you in the tournament. The difference in this team and the previous McMahon teams is that your best player is now your point guard. Like, KJ Williams was a second-team All-SEC player in McMahon's first year. And you were 2-16 in the league. Last year, Cam Carter was a second-team All-League player. He was great. He averaged 16 a game. He shot 40% from three. He was awesome. But you went 3-15. You have not had point guard play like this. Juice Williams did not translate from Murray State to LSU. Jalen Cook came over from Tulane back after transferring out of LSU, and then he was ineligible. Then he was eligible. Then he didn't play very well, and then he just left the team, and it didn't work. You had to have Jordan Wright do everything for you. He was a 6'3" who was trying to play point guard. And last year, Cam Carter's a 2. He's a scorer, and he had to do everything for you. Now you've got a point guard who's facilitating things, who's running the show, who knows when to push the tempo and get in transition, who knows when to stop and back things up, who knows when to attack off the pick and roll, who knows when to work the pick and pop and get back into an offensive set. He knows how to handle the show. And LSU hasn't had that in the McMahon era. And because of that, Mike Nwoku has gone from a 6-point per game guy to a 16-point per game guy. Yes, the competition's been bad. I know that. He's not going to average 16 the whole SEC slate, but he's got a chance to do some stuff like that. Max McKinnon has shot it great the last 4 games. Shot it great the last 4 games. You're talking about a guy who's 52% from three-point range over the last 2 weeks. because he's got open looks, because the defense is spread and the ball's going where it needs to go. So I'm not telling you this is a Sweet 16 LSU team. I'm not telling you it's a Final Four LSU team. I'm not telling you that the non-conference schedule was really, really difficult. It was not. It was incredibly light. Nobody came to the PMAC in terms of a visiting team. Not I'm talking about fans, I'm talking about visiting teams. They went and played tournaments that weren't on national television against teams that nobody's watching. They got crushed by Texas Tech, and they're not done getting crushed. They will have a couple of games in conference that they will get boat raced because the league's good and there's 18 of the games, and sometimes you can't make shots. But when they have a good point guard, which I believe they do, and they've got some pieces around him, which I believe they do, they've got a shot. And the league's come back a little bit. I'm concerned about LSU's defense. I'm concerned about LSU's bench scoring. There are some things that are still concerning to me. But I'm not going to completely turn a blind eye to crushing a Southern Miss team that played with two of your SEC foes, to beating down an SMU team that beat a couple of your SEC foes, of just absolutely laying to waste at a Paul team that had just beat Georgia Tech 24 hours earlier. Like, some of that's impressive. I don't care how bad you did or beat Prairie View. I don't care how bad you didn't beat Tarleton State or UNO. But some of these games are against teams that would be at the 12, 14 mark of the SEC, which are still league games that you're beating by 30 points. So I think they got a shot. That's what I'm telling you. I think they got a shot. And they need to get off to a decent start. We'll talk about it on Friday. I think they got a chance in their first two games. The next two are really difficult. The first two games in league play, you got a real chance. You go to A&M, and you got South Carolina coming here. Get off to a 1-1 start. Man, if you get off to a 2-0 start, like you can do this. I know everybody's locked in the transfer portal, and trust me, we're going to spend 80% of the show talking Saints and transfer portal on Friday. But I am going to mention the A&M game because I'm hopeful that this LSU basketball team digs out of it. It's not a lot of fun to wade through a winless January, a one-win January like we do sometimes. And I don't think that's going to be the case this year. I think this team's a little bit better. So we'll talk about it as we continue to move forward. I got a column up at LouisianaSports.net talking about D-Don Thomas. When we come back, Sharief, Ishaq talking Saints next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Daryl May of RE/MAX Partners, DarylMayProperties.com, DarylMayProperties.com. Buying or selling a home in Baton Rouge, Daryl May's your guy. Why? Well, he's born and raised in Baton Rouge. He knows the area. He lives in St. Francisville. He knows places to look for that potential second home or just life to start outside the city. Daryl's done it. He's also been a builder for better than 20 years, so he knows what you should be looking for as a buyer. Daryl's been in this community for a long, long time. If you're looking for a realtor that you can trust on what you need to be buying or bringing people to you, what you need to be selling for, Daryl May at RE/MAX Partners is your guy. Go to DarylMayProperties.com. Reach out to him. Got a page there on his homepage with the listings if you're looking to buy. Land is also something he's very well versed in. Louisiana and Mississippi. So if you're looking Mississippi Gulf Coast up in Woodville, he's got you covered there as well. It's Daryl May of RE/MAX Partners. Find him online at DarylMayProperties.com.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
I'm lawyer Collins Locke Meredith. Among the most important factors to consider when you're hiring an injury attorney is trust. You trust your attorney will put your interest first, treat you with respect, fairness, and honesty. You trust them to be there for you when you need them. At Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates, thousands of clients have trusted us to represent them, and for good reasons. Please visit us at LockeMeredith.com to learn more, and whether you hire us at all, give us a call at 272-5555. You have nothing to lose.
I'm Gabrielle McLeod on behalf of the Louisiana Propane Dealers. I have spent hundreds of hours preparing for scholarship competitions. That preparation paid off when I won the Fitness and Talent Awards along with the title of Miss Louisiana. The Louisiana Propane Dealers are also pretty talented and want you to be prepared for when the power goes out. Visit LouisianaPropane.com to find out about propane generators and other safety tips. Louisiana Propane. It truly is the fuel for our future.
Today, we are shaping tomorrow.
We are researching how extreme stress impacts the immune system, from trauma victims to athletes and even astronauts.
Our work is leading the way in sepsis treatment, saving countless lives.
We're unlocking the mind with music in exciting new ways.
Our Lady of the Lake Health and LSU are improving the health of our state.
That's the impact of champions.
Imagine the impact we'll have on the future. Together, we roar.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
After a decade of working in private duty nursing, I know how hard it can be to find compassionate care for the ones that you love the most. So I started Decision Critical, a premier concierge nursing agency, so we can take care of you wherever you are. Our highly skilled nurses provide exceptional care from the comfort of your own home, with personalized packages for short-term, long-term, or even around-the-clock care. Visit us.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Daryl May Remax Partners. Looking for land to hunt or build? Call Daryl May Remax Partners.
Winding down here. Final Hunt Palmer Show of 2025. Appreciate y'all hanging out with us. Appreciate Sharief Ishaq for hanging out with us. He does so on Tuesdays. Does it right now on the Jim's Firearms Hotline. Sharief, how we doing?
Good, man. I'm glad that I am your last guest of the year. Is that correct?
Yeah, unless something happens that I don't foresee in the next 20 minutes, I think you're going to be it. So make it count. This is the last moments of the show for the year.
It's not how you start, it's how you finish. I'm like the Tyler Shuck of TV.
That's exactly right. Speaking of him, how are we feeling about it?
Look, man, I mean, I know what people are saying. It's the Jets, it's the Titans. But, imagine had he, had horrible games against the Jets and Titans. What would you be saying? Instead, he, flipped the script and he had good games against the teams that you're supposed to beat, and he did it in very crucial spots. The second half, we'll stick with the Titans game, 12 of 16 in the second half, for 251, 2 touchdowns, and a perfect passer rating. And mind I tell you, Hunt, he's doing this. Yes, he has Olave and Johnson, but he also has guys that you probably never heard of: Pettis, Austin, Medevau, and Estime. I mean, for him to be throwing passes to those guys and guys off the street on the offensive line, I mean, that's just some very incredible work there by Tyler Shuck, and he just continues to improve each game. He continues to impress, and the thing that he's done well, I think, in these last few games is go through his progression, look at each level, and he's directing traffic. And that's something that Saints fans should be very encouraged about moving to the future.
Let's talk about some of those names you mentioned, specifically Audric Estime. Is there an opportunity for him to carve out a real role in the future Saints offenses?
Yeah, I mean, I think as a backup, of course. I mean, you have Neal, you're going to have Estime, and then a question mark with Alvin Kamara. And then are they going to bring in another one? Are they going to draft a running back, which I think they should do? That's something to talk about another time. But, yeah, I mean, he was with the Broncos. They didn't have a place for him. Just think about it. The Broncos did not have a place for Bailey and Estime, and now they're at the Saints, and they're showing that they can be very productive players. And I truly think that Estime is going to have a role in this offense next year just by showing what he's done in these last 2 games. And that's a good sign. And that's something that the Saints need. They desperately need a running game in a very bad way. They need playmakers, of course, but I think it starts with the running game when it comes to their playmakers. And they need to find a proven running back. Now, Neal and Estime haven't been, in the league that long to show what they have, but at least they're, good, dependable backup guys.
Have y'all asked Shuck and or Kellen Moore about the starts? I realize everything's positive and they're making winning plays late and making adjustments and getting things done, but I'd like to score a little bit more earlier. Have they talked about that?
About him not starting earlier in the season?
No, about scoring earlier in games. They're just getting off to very slow starts and having to go nuts in the second half.
Awful starts, huh? 29 points in the first quarter is the worst in the NFL. I mean, that's the one thing that Tyler Shuck does continue to talk about. There's a lot of meat left on the bone, and there's a lot more for us left out there that we need to do. And he talks about those slow starts, and it's just, I don't know what it is, huh? I just think it's, it's one of those things where you take a little while to wake up. It's like whenever you wake up in the morning, you got to get going, and it's a slow start, and then boom, you get to like lunchtime, which is halftime, and then they're like, okay, let's get it going. Let's close out this day strong. And that's just something about the team where the play calling gets better, Shuck gets better, the line gets a little bit better, and the playmakers that they have out there get better. It's just they have to find a way next season to clean up the first quarter and the second quarter issues, because it's kind of the theme of the season, huh? The season was a slow start, and now they're finishing the season strong. They have to find a way to start the season strong and kind of finish it strong, and that goes with their quarters. And these first quarters, they're just ugly, and there's no other way to say it. They're just ugly. They're flat, and that's just something they have to figure out, because you have a rookie head coach and a rookie quarterback, and maybe that's part of the reason.
Defensively, what's your favorite part about what they're doing? Not that Sunday was a clinic, but the 3-4 weeks before that was really good.
I thought the second half was a clinic. The first half was an issue.
Yeah.
But just minus the Chase Young unbelievable play,
yeah,
maybe one of the top plays of the season. I mean, man, that looks like a K2 football in his hand when he's running down the field. But I think it's getting to the passes when the quarterbacks are getting there. Now they just have to convert them to turnovers. But they had pressure issues this week against Cam Moore. They had a hard time getting him down. I mean, I know eventually they did get the sacks with the strip sack, and Cam Jordan got a sack at with a knee down on fourth down that eventually turned a sack. They finished with what, 4 sacks or so, 2 or 4 sacks. Not many sacks, 4 sacks. So it's the battle man. It's the battle with them. They keep on battling. They don't give up. And that's the one thing I've really liked about this defense. That they've got to shore up the secondary. I mean, you can't have a 50-plus yard pass interference call. You have to take advantage of the interceptions. I know Alonte's frustrated to have 4 pass breakups instead of 2 or 3 interceptions, but you're starting to see them getting closer to the balls and getting closer to making plays, and that's a trending in the right direction. They just got to force those turnovers, and I think that it's something they have to build on for sure. That's what you've seen the last 4 or 5 weeks, building on that defense and making it a top 10, 12 defense in the NFL.
I asked this a little bit tongue-in-cheek, but I want your truthful answer. Like, how important is Sunday's game?
I think it's important.
Okay.
They came into your house after the bye week and they embarrassed you.
Yep.
They embarrassed Sharief, and they brought the fans from Atlanta, and it was like their home game, which we've seen a lot with many of the other fans and teams when they play the Saints. This is the chance for the Saints to return the favor. The 2 hottest teams, you could say, in the NFC South, maybe in the NFC. I mean, they're playing their best balls at the right time, and you saw what they did to the Rams last night, almost had an epic meltdown, a 24-3 meltdown, but they're going to have to start to find a way to get to Kirk Cousins. He's been their Achilles heel for so many years. I don't know what it is about a guy with cement shoes, cement brink feet, someone who can't move in the pocket, able to absolutely beat them down the field. That is something that has to stop, and they can't let Bijan Robinson have 93-yard touchdown runs like he had last night. You just cannot let him go for 200 yards of offense. I mean, it's an important game. It's an important game for the city, for the fan base, to go into the offseason with 5 straight wins. Imagine you say, oh, my God, we have not lost the game. And, how long when the season starts? Was the Falcons their last loss? I'm trying to think. That might have been their last loss of the season. So that's just something to think about, man. Get revenge, and you finish that season, and you finish the season strong. But your last loss actually coming against the Dolphins. So if they can win 5 straight games heading into the offseason, you feel good. You feel very good, man. And it helps, in terms of getting, primetime games as well.
We'll talk about it next Tuesday. Happy New Year, Sharief. We'll talk next week.
All right, man. Happy New Year. See you next week.
That's Sharief Ishaq, WDSU. Great time to remind you about Fabry Chevrolet GMC. If you're looking to get into a new vehicle in the first quarter of 2026, no better spot to jump in than Fabry Chevrolet GMC. They got a huge inventory, looking for Chevy Tahoes, Chevy Silverados, Chevy Suburban. They've got them there on the lot. You can check that out at FabryChevrolet.com. They've also got a great line of GMC models as well. You're looking at Sierras, Yukons, Denali's. Looking for an SUV, no better spot to look than Fabry Chevrolet GMC. It's a short drive away, Highway 61 in St. Francisville. I drove through St. Francisville last weekend on the way up to Shreveport. Nothing to it, just right there up the road on 110. Go check them out. The Fabry family been integral in this community and a name you can trust for 35 years. And now you can trust them with Chevrolet and GMC up on Highway 61 in St. Francisville. Check out that huge inventory at FabryChevrolet.com. That's FabryChevrolet.com. We've only got one order of business left to do on this Tuesday. Got to make sure my day is right. Final show of the year. We'll play Take It or Leave It next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Marucci, based here in Baton Rouge, founded by a couple of former big leaguers, an athletic trainer. They began handcrafting bats for some of the best players in the game from the backyard shed in 2004. Fast forward at 21 years, and that dedication and quality and understanding of players' needs has turned Marucci into an all-American success story right here in Baton Rouge. Today, Marucci is the official bat of Major League Baseball. You can visit the wood shop responsible for the bats in the hands of Major League players, Major League stars all around the world. So to learn more, visit maruccisports.com/campus store. It means you can go in, check and see that woodworking spot. Such a cool opportunity, whether you're someone middle age, someone who's a little bit younger, kids going in there and checking out where the bats the stars use are made right here in Baton Rouge. Again, it's maruccisports.com/campus-tour. Every ticket comes 20% discount over at Marucci. And also jump in there, take some swings in the cages as well. It's Marucci here in Baton Rouge. Check them out at maruccisports.com.
My father, J.B. Falgu, had a vision of growth for First American Bank and the communities we serve. The bank's foundation was built on his legacy of compassion, loyalty, and dedication. Through his years of leadership, First American has prospered to heights even J.B. could not have imagined. I know my father would be extremely proud of the customer service and financial stability that First American provides to Southeast Louisiana. We continue to thrive because of the legacy of J.B. Falgu.
You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe. My whole team on wild.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Looking for cleaner energy? Propane is energy for everyone. And when you're cooking with clean, affordable propane, you're cooking with gas. In the wintertime, nothing heats a home like Louisiana propane. And when you need hot water, propane's got you covered. Oh, and you won't regret that propane generator when the power goes out. I'm Miss Louisiana, Gabrielle McLeod, and to find more information and to find a propane dealer near you, visit louisianapropane.com.
I'm Lawyer Locke Meredith. If you're battling an insurance company because of a wreck not your fault and they're not calling you back or being fair, whether you hire us at all, give us a call, 272-5555, or email Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates. You have nothing to lose.
Hello, I'm Collins Meredith. If you've been injured on the job, you likely have a workers' compensation claim, but you may also have a tort claim which opens up significant recovery rights not normally available for a work injury. If this is you, call us or come see us at Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates.
Sometimes you ignore the signs, even when they're right in front of you. Problem gambling isn't always easy to spot. Know the signs. Set your limit. Learn more about healthy gambling habits by visiting us online or text or call for free confidential help now.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Daryl May Remax Partners. Looking for land to hunt or build? Call Daryl May Remax Partners.
Reminder for those out there looking for something to do on this Tuesday evening, kind of continuing the celebratory mood, enjoying yourself out on the town, maybe less work obligations or school obligations the next couple of days. I'll be out at Court to Table tonight for sports trivia. 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock sports trivia. Come by yourself. Come with a team. Come hang. Great food, huge televisions. You can win gift cards, play some pickleball if you'd like. But we'll be cranking up sports trivia tonight at 8 o'clock from Court to Table on Burbank. Would love to see a bunch of y'all out there this evening. I'm looking forward to it, so we'll see you. All that's left to do this year is play some Take It or Leave It.
Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Presented to you by Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer, crafted by America's oldest brewery. Today's hottest stories in sports, news, and sometimes even Hunt's life. The question is, will he take them or leave them?
Flight by Yingling is the next generation of light beer. Just 95 calories, 2.6 carbs, all the flavor that you're looking for from a delicious beer. And the Christmas, refreshing, light flavor. If you're looking for a light beer, you're going to knock down a couple here on New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, watching some football. No better than to grab Flight by Yingling. If you hadn't tried it, try it out. Flight by Yingling. It's the next generation of light beer.
Okay, so we're going to start this off with the other digs, brother. We don't need to talk about what Stephon has going on. But the Dallas Cowboys have released cornerback Trayvon Diggs. The cornerback's release was an accumulation of multiple factors spread over time, including performances on and off the field and other elements. As you know, he had a concussion from hanging the TV the other day. So the Cowboys and Diggs felt like it was best to move on at this point, as his contract will be fully guaranteed next season, so they're trying to, get ahead of that. So will Diggs come out and say that he wants to find a playoff team to go into before the start of the playoffs? So will Diggs find a new playoff team? Take it or leave it?
I'll probably leave it. I don't know the rules on that, and you can add in guys this late and who's eligible or not.
He will just have to clear the waivers, and he's free to sign anywhere he goes.
Have at it. I would try to find a playoff team too. If that's all that was left was the playoffs, I would try to find a playoff team. Feels like that's kind of unlikely based on all the things that's going on in Dallas. But yeah, not a super great week for the Diggs.
Yeah, they're not having the best of days. So Sean McVay has come out after the Monday Night Football loss. Come on, man, you got to beat the Falcons.
Nope.
Saying that he will go ahead and play his starters in Week 18 against the Cardinals, despite the Rams. They're already out the running for the division, and they're either going to be in the 5th or 6th seed. They can't go no higher or no lower than 5 or 6. But he's content on playing the starters Week 18 against the Cardinals. Take it or leave it. Playing your starters in a meaningless game.
I would leave it because my quarterback's old and can't move. So that's just not a guy I'm going to put on the field. He's the best player in the league potentially this year. Could be the MVP. He's your ticket to trying to win another Super Bowl. And I don't need him out there. I don't think that's a guy that needs more reps. I think Matt Stafford's had adequate reps. I don't think he's going to get super rusty because he sat out in Week 18. You want to play some other guys? Sure. I wouldn't put Naku out there either, but I guess the answer to the question is no, I would not put them out there, but I guess he is. So hopefully everybody stays healthy.
All right, so Anthony Rendon's tenure with the Los Angeles Angels is officially over after the team bought out his final year of his contract, according to The Athletic. The 7-year, $245 million deal from Rendon is pound for pound one of the worst of all time. He played in just 275 out of 1,032, something like that, games during his time with the Angels due to various ailments and surgeries. Is this the worst contract of all time? Take it or leave it.
It's close. I'll leave it with some respect to some others, but it's close. I mean, you're talking you're talking about an organization that spent huge on Mike Trout, Anthony Rendon, Shohei Ohtani, and Albert Pujols in the span of like a 8-year period, and won nothing. They got to the playoffs one time. Yep. I mean, just an unbelievable misappropriation of funds by the Angels. I appreciate to some extent being willing to pay top dollar, like the Cubs won't do it, but I mean, you got to win more games than they don't win anything.
Yeah,
they wasted Mike Trout's entire career. Yeah. It's amazing.
And you had Ohtani, who's probably one of the top 3 players of all time. So Ross Dellinger is reporting that Lane Kiffin may attend the Sugar Bowl with Governor Jeff Landry. Oh, Lord. Take it or leave it.
I'm going to leave that one, Lane. Look, I know that he likes to troll. I genuinely believe that he would like to see those players do well. I think he would. But I know what's going to go on in that city over the next 72 hours, okay? I've been there for Sugar Bowls as a student, as a fan. Those Ole Miss fans are going to be drinking a lot. God. Yeah. That's a night game on New Year's Day.
Lubricated.
And I know that he'll have security. The governor's got security and all, but like what are we doing here? You got to sneak in the back door and hope nobody's like. If you're walking through the suite level where I'm sure he'll be, and like there's gonna be drunk Ole Miss fans. Like I just would not want to deal with the situation.
Yeah.
I mean,
but he loves that.
No way, man. Like no way. I mean, it just I wouldn't do it. We'll see if he does. That's it for us. From the bottom of our heart, appreciate y'all listening all year long. We're gonna take the next 2 off for New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. So everybody, please be safe out there. Have a wonderful and safe New Year. We are back Friday to kickstart 2026. Looking forward to it. See you next year.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Swing Easy Golf Club in Baton Rouge. SwingEasyGCBR.com. If your New Year's resolution is to get better at golf, I got to figure it out for you. You go to Swing Easy Golf Club. You get a private bay, so you don't have to worry about other people looking at you or holding up the golf course. You don't have to worry about whether or not it's hot or cold outside or it's wet. Maybe it's dark outside. You don't have to deal with any of that. You just go in to your private bay, turn on that simulator, and hit golf shots. You can turn on the driving range feature, work on hitting drivers, work on hitting wedges, work on hitting long irons, short irons. You get so much great feedback with what the ball does when it reacts on the simulator, with where your club face is at impact, and you can do it in a stress-free, comfortable environment over at Swing Easy. Whether you're a scratch player or you're a guy, girl that's just picking up the game, Swing Easy Golf Club is a great place to just work on your golf game. Check them out on Segan at Perkins. That's Segan at Perkins. It's Swing Easy Golf Club. You can also find them online, SwingEasyGCBR.com, SwingEasyGCBR.com.
This menu is a masterpiece, delivers every time.
This is the worst party